introduce you first, and then I'll introduce myself, and then we can start with the conversation itself.
Sure. So let me start. All right. So
Okay.
hey guys, our friends, shapers from on Facebook, on Weibo, greetings from Sichuan, China. So my name is Hongyi. You can call me Troy. I'm one of the Global Shapers based in Beijing Hub 2. So Global Shapers is a community affiliated with the World Economic Forum. So we are doing all sorts of initiatives and projects trying to address different local, regional, and global challenges. So right now I'm leading the function of communication at Beijing 2 Hub, and I'm really honored today to be invited to join this conversation on the coronavirus situation. So I'm gonna be sharing what's happening on the ground in China, all the facts, my personal observation, and what are the business implications, and what we can do as shapers, as individuals, can help, solve the issue, contribute one way or another. All right, thanks. Back to you.
Okay, so my name is Sadahat. I'm 21 years old, and I am an ACCA student. And apart from studying, I do calligraphy. And apart from all of these things, I am a global shaper in Faisalabad Hub. And so our Global Shapers community is basically there to gather young people on a single platform to shape the future on local and global agendas. So here we are today talking about the coronavirus. So we all know about the coronavirus through the news, through social media. So what we are trying to do today is to get directly in touch with someone, with you, Troy, who can inform us a bit more in depth about the current situations in China. So yeah. Thank you for giving us the time, Troy.
My pleasure.
And thank you to your hub, to coordinate this and organize this live session.
Yeah, there are many more online events to come, and I'm really honored to be part of this cross-hub, initiative. So today's topic is actually, minimize the spread. I really love this topic because we're not gonna only minimize the spread of the virus, but also the misinformation, the rumors, as well as the hatred, xenophobia, etc. I think that's super important, especially for Global Shaper, as a global network of young aspiring leaders. There's something we can do to bridge the gaps in the misinformation, between different cultures. So I'm really excited to hear from you about the insights and see what I can contribute and share some of the experience I've been encountered over here in China. Yeah.
Sure. So I'll start with the basics. We know in December 19, the coronavirus was discovered in Wuhan, China. So till date, I think there have been discovered up to 100,000 of cases and more than 4,000 deaths, if I'm correct or not. You can correct me if there's any misinformation, because this is likely being a lot of.
So just a quick disclaimer, first of all,
can you tell us?
Yeah, just want to do a quick disclaimer before we jump into the conversation. So both of us are no experts on the public health, right? So what we're gonna do is we're gonna use the credible resources. We're not expert, but we are trying to give you some facts according to different sources like WHO, World Health Organization. So it's all right, and you should be critical about whatever we say. And whatever we say does not represent Global Shapers as a community or anybody else. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so I would like to start by the roots. Can you tell us something about where it started? We know it started in Wuhan, but what were the reasons and what did cause the virus to spread so fast, and how did it take birth?
So from what I've learned from different sources, I really love the way you put it. It was discovered in Wuhan. So it was discovered there, but there's no any evidence, scientific evidence yet that this coronavirus was originated in Wuhan city. Yes, the half of the first batch of the patients who were carrying the coronavirus have been to this wet market, the seafood market in Wuhan city. So it might be one of the origins of this virus from the wild animal, right? Most people suspect that's from the wild animal, and people are really saddened by that, you know. But there's no clear, solid evidence to put a conclusion there. But let's say it's discovered in Wuhan city, and a little bit of context about Wuhan, because not so many people outside of China know about Wuhan city. But actually, Wuhan is a big city, bigger than New York in terms of the population. So there is, according to the data, there's 11 million population, 11 million people in Wuhan city. So it's a very populated place. And it's also famous for different industries, like electronics and different manufacture, industries there. And it started at the end of the last year. So first of all, there was some, very mysterious pneumonia discovered in the hospital, and which really put on alert to some public health, medical staff and experts. So, but it takes some time for those cases to be reported to central government, to Beijing, and later on to the WHO. So it takes roughly half a month for the whole country to be really aware of what's happening. And this pneumonia is infectious. It can be transmitted between person to person. That's when, like, I realized around middle January, that this can be really serious. Yeah.
Yeah. And what is the current situation like in China? Like, where are you actually? You are not in Beijing, you told me. Is it right?
Yeah. Fortunately, I was able to be back before the situation got really intense. So I came back mid-January when the situation was not so intense. I got back for the Chinese New Year holiday. But later on, I got to know that there's a lockdown in Wuhan city. Roughly, that's on 23rd of January. So the government put a travel ban in Wuhan, which is the epicenter of the coronavirus. Later on, it's expanded to the whole province of Hubei. So I've been stuck here at home and enjoying my extended, Chinese New Year vacation, basically. And the reason why I'm not planning to go back to Beijing anytime soon is that there's still some self-imposed quarantine in some cities. So the policy, yeah.
Excuse me, can you repeat? Because there was some technical issue. Can you repeat again? What did you say? After you extended New Year, that you're enjoying it being at home. Start from there, please. Again.
Yeah. So I was joking though. I was jokingly speaking that I was enjoying my extended vacation, and the part of the reason why I didn't go back, because there's still some travel ban in different places. So if I go back to Beijing, I gotta be in self-imposed quarantine for 14 days, which is 2 weeks. I gotta stay home, cannot go to work or whatsoever. So it's very enforcing policy in Beijing, and I just personal reason is that I don't really cook. So I got to survive on all the food delivery and instant noodles, which for me it's like quite impossible. So I don't think it's a good idea for me to go back anytime soon. Yeah, so still I can work from home. I can do different things and do this kind of live chatting with you guys.
So, how far did the coronavirus and the whole situation had an impact on like the economy itself and on your personal life, like education or like the employment and the education, in the education sector? How are the children dealing with it, and how far are businesses going with the coronavirus?
Yeah, I think we can put things into perspective, right? So we can put it in comparison with other outbreaks happened previously in China. One good example might be the SARS, happened 18 years ago in 2003, which was also a big, tragic event. So in comparison to SARS, Ebola, MERS, those kind of outbreaks, coronavirus or COVID-19 is actually not as deadly as those outbreaks, not as deadly as other viruses, but it spreads, way faster than other viruses. According to the data, on average, one person carrying the virus, the coronavirus, can transit to, two other individuals. So that's how fast it can be transmitted. Yeah, I think there's some other reasons why this time around it's harder to contain the virus because the transportation infrastructure has been developing over all those years. So we now have a faster, bullet train rail network. So people travel around faster. So it's easy for the virus to spread. Another big reason is this time around is actually the biggest migration season in China, actually in the whole world, because it's Chinese New Year. And during this period of time, people go back home from their working city to their hometown. So it's easy for the virus to, to circulate. That's also a big reason why the government put the Wuhan city, the whole city, even the whole province in lockdown to have this kind of travel ban, so to stop the virus from spreading further. Yeah.
Okay, so what I experienced here in Pakistan was when the first two cases were identified, there was a huge outbreak of panic amongst the common people, the civil society. So how was it like for you as an individual and for the people you know, how did you people deal with it? Like when you first got to know about the virus and
Yeah.
how did you manage?
Yeah. So how many cases are there in Pakistan already? Only two?
There are like two confirmed cases I know about, like
I
who
see,
are
I see,
official.
I see. So at the beginning, there's so many, misinformation and rumors out there, especially on social media. I'd say one of the biggest difference
Yeah.
between this outbreak and the previous ones is that people all have mobile devices with the internet connection. Everybody can go onto the internet and say whatever they want. So that's why the rumors travel faster than the virus itself. So at the beginning, when people, especially when people stay at home, they are afraid to go out, but they stay home and feel really bored. So when people are get when people are bored, they do some stupid things. They make up, misinformation and spread out on the internet. There's so many ridiculous ones. People buy some random stuff, try to prevent them from getting, infected, like by bleach, some other, random medicine, supposedly can kill the virus, which is not scientifically true. So there's some rumors at the very beginning, which really spread out the fear among the people, which, if you really think about it, is a good thing in certain way because people get worried, so they do different kinds of protection. So you see people wear masks on the streets, even though there's no cases at all in their city, but they're still quite worried because of the rumors, because of the misinformation. But later on, I'd say since the Wuhan was in lockdown, ever since 23rd January, the central government stepped in and really put the joint efforts to tackle the misinformation, to tackle the virus. I'd say that's where things are becoming more manageable, well contained to some extent, and gradually was getting better because the government was, mobilizing different resources. There are roughly 20 cities in Hubei province, including the epicenter Wuhan, and each city was assigned with one other province to provide medical supply and medical stuff. say if like I'm from Sichuan, so Sichuan, the resources of Sichuan are all put together to help one city in the epicenter. So that's where the things are more mobilized and really have a positive impact on the healthcare system in the epicenter of Wuhan city. Yeah, and we saw the news. I probably also heard about it. There's two hospitals built within 10 days, which was really
Yeah.
incredible. Two whole new buildings, hospital was built from ground up, from scratch within 10 days, with 2,000 beds in total. It really is the medical shortage over there. So so I'd say there's a transition. People were super worried because of I don't know who to listen to. I don't know what's happening. There's so many rumors around. But later on, when the central government stepped in, I think since the atmosphere are getting to a better direction. Yeah.
Okay, I have two questions for you. First of all, like that one with the misinformation, that was really highlighted here in Pakistan. I know when the first two cases came out, suddenly there were like 5 cases in Islamabad, in the northern area of Pakistan. There were 2 cases in the city where I am living in. So, and it all like in conclusion, there were actually no cases. So those fake news,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
misinformation. So how you said it was the same for you, but how did you deal with it? And like, how did the government deal with that?
So for at the beginning, there's no credible sources, right? People don't know who to believe, right? But later on, there's some authoritative organization interfere. Like we see some pharmaceutical company and some critical, meditech company post fact checking website on social media on the internet to be circulated. Like if right now, if I go onto WeChat, which is the most popular messaging social media app in China, there's an integrated, fact-checking interface where you can see all the credible source, what's happening, how many cases in your city, even you can locate each case, like which this infected individual has been to, which train he or she has been on. So so after some time, there's some technologies step in to ease the panic in the society, right? There's some good examples. Like right now, if I want to go back to Beijing, actually I need to have a medical certificate from local hospital. And here's how I do it. I got register my information on WeChat first. On WeChat with my, itinerary over the days in my hometown, which places I've been to, who are the people I've been interacting with, and I need to, go to the local hospital to do the medical check to see if like there's any, fever or dry cough, any symptom basically I have. If not, I get the green corner on my QR code. So it's like a medical care pass. So I can use the pass to go into other cities, especially the most affected ones. So I'm so happy this time around we have some technologies to help out, and we also see more efficient logistic. It's incredible. Just now I was picking up my parcel actually. I was getting my parcel. I ordered this. It's my contact lens. I use it for daily use. I ordered it yesterday and it's arrived today. And when I go to the pickup station, there's so many people there because nobody want to go out. They just want to, order the delivery, food delivery or anything. But thanks to the well-developed infrastructure of the logistics in China, I think people's life is still reasonably convenient. We still get stuff. We don't have to, go to, fight for the masks. We do sometimes, but we don't have to fight for like drinks, water, toilet paper, like it's happening in Australia. I don't quite understand. Like people, fight for toilet paper. Like what? So I'm happy that the e-commerce, industry in China is really well developed. Yeah, thanks to Alibaba and Jingdong.com. So basically our life is still all right. Like we still can basically handle it. Yeah.
Okay, and to the topic of masks. So what I have observed, like everyone actually living here in Pakistan, was like as soon as we got confirmed those cases, the prices of the masks, they got enormously high. Did you like observe something similar there to according to like the masks or any kind of Medicare or something similar?
I was one of the first people around me wearing a mask. It's before, the lockdown of Wuhan city. I realized the seriousness of this virus. So when I was traveling to another city, I was carrying a mask because the air pollution is still a big issue in Beijing. So I have some masks in stock already. So I carry it around. So at the first place, I didn't have to, get more masks. But later on, yes, there was a run on the masks. People were quite worried. They also wanna buy as many masks as possible. So like the first batch of masks, a bag of masks I got from the pharmaceuticals. It was like 3 times of the price. So which actually is still reasonable. It's not like stupidly high. And there's a government's initiative to crack down any, you know, uh, irrational, price increase. So and yeah, so I say the mask right now the supply is going upwards. Like there's some tech companies, some manufacturers, they are shifting their product line to facial masks. Like they used to produce television, all sorts of mobile devices. They changed the whole product line to produce facial masks. But there's some increase. Reasonably,
Okay.
people can accept that. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so there are those basic precautions we are all aware of. So how far do you follow them? Like washing your hands for 20 seconds in a regular pattern and like similar, like keeping your environment clean and these things, like how far you follow them?
Okay, first of all, not only during the time of coronavirus or any kind of outbreak, we should wash our hands no matter what, right? It should be our habit, our daily routine to wash our hands. But this time around, there's some certain rules we need to follow. I heard some people, from foreign media, say something like we need to wash your hands for the time of saying the happy birthday song 2 times. That was interesting. Yeah, I do wash my hands and use hand wash. Actually, I carry disinfection with me. So we like my dad have this kind of little container for the disinfection, so we can spread it out, especially on the shoes, on your clothes. I don't know how much it can actually work, but like my family, people around me doing this, all the sanitation procedure for the sake of, like sense of protection. I don't know. It's like I don't know what's happening. I don't know whether I'm doing it right or wrong. But as long as I'm doing something, I feel a little bit more protected. You know. Let me ask you a question. Do you see people on streets wearing masks in your city?
Okay, where I live here in Faisalabad, there haven't been any confirmed cases, so I haven't seen a lot of people, mostly none, like just like one or two maybe. But in cities where the cases came, like that was in Karachi, for example, there were a lot of people who get into wearing masks, and that's actually a place where the price enormously increased of the masks. So yeah, it's where cases are confirmed, there people wear masks, and otherwise people still are like on their normal routines, not wearing masks or anything.
Yeah. So that's a huge difference. it kind of is like different social
Yeah.
norms. In China, we wear mask to get protected. But I think in some,
Mhm.
Western society, social norms, it's like if you wear a mask, there gotta be something wrong with you, you know. So that's why some people got discrimination. Chinese, or Chinese looking, Asian looking people got discriminated in some Western countries because they are wearing masks. And it's just different, social
Mhm.
perception.
Yeah. Yeah, but like the people who are now afraid, kind of, and who really got that panic, they are now into getting those masks and getting more aware. And those regular patterns of washing your hands and keeping your environment clean, keeping yourself clean, hand sanitizers. People are using those things.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, it's a good plus. Like, if you can, just wear it. But in the case of so many people fight for the masks and or medical supplies, it's gonna be have a potential shortage for the medical care frontline workers. That's some scenario we don't want to see. If everybody's trying to get their own mask, what about the people in the front line? Carrying the nurses, the doctors. They don't have much supply on that part. Yeah, that's a big issue. Yeah, it's a good argument.
So, okay, what I would like to know personally, like how far did the whole scenario had an impact on your personal life?
Yeah, I was fortunate enough. I came back early. Before the outbreak really became serious, I got back home in Sichuan, and my city, my province, is not heavily affected by the coronavirus, and so the thing is just like my holiday, my Chinese New Year holiday was partially um, damaged because I didn't go anywhere. Most of the time, I was in the self-imposed quarantine at home, uh, but I do go out sometimes to different some places, and so it's quite troublesome wherever I go because there are checkpoints in different
Ah,
compounds and different districts. At For a period of time, like for a couple of days, those measures were really extreme. You know, to some extent that people look on the door to check if there's anyone
mhm.
just got back from other cities, especially from Wuhan or Hubei. You just want to check everybody's information.
Ah,
Where have you been? They knock on the door. Actually, people come to your door to do the
mhm.
checking, and they also have this mobile temperature detector, which they can put
Yeah,
it in front of your head and detect your temperature. So they
yeah,
do that kind of temperature checking uh, wherever I go. When I go outside of my um, you know compound or I go to another shopping mall, they always check your temperature. So it make my life a little bit inconvenient, but which is quite also understanding though. So I'm not heavily affected. Just like I am not able to go back to Beijing, where I work, where I have more friends. Right now, I just am stuck here at
mhm.
home. But good thing is that I'm still can spend quality time with my family. So can't complain. It's just what it is.
Yeah. So, you have any suggestions for those people who are in quarantine in China or somewhere all around the place, all around the world? There are people being under quarantine. So, you have any like suggestions you would like to make for them, like how they can deal with it? And
Yeah, I think people need to mentally be prepared for what's coming. Like,
mhm.
just be prepared. What if I need to go on quarantine for a week or so? So you need to. I think it's a good time for some people to develop some more daily routines or mini habits, right? So you finally, some people have been complaining they don't have time for this and for that, for their hobbies, for their habits. Here's the time right now. Like you can stay away from work and your social life. You can have your introvert self with yourself, right? And you can spend time reading, watching the TV show you have been eager to watch, and or developing some new interests or habits. So something I did for the previous months was I started to, you know, uh, develop my morning routine, which is to get up early every day and do some reading. So I'm happy that I got something done during this time of anxiety. I think people need to have that kind of growth mindset, you know, to take advantage of this tricky situation to their own benefit. Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah. Let me ask you, like,
So,
what's happening in Pakistan, in your city?
yeah.
Do people still go to work as usual? Like, is any, you know, impact in your place already? Like, tangible impact, not only the mental impact.
Uh, No, there's only, I feel like mental impact on the people. Like when I talk to my friends or something, they're just like, oh my God, it's in Pakistan. Oh, I'm afraid. Like, oh my God, what's going to happen? That's their reaction. But on government level, like if you talk about education, the institutes, the schools, colleges, universities, they are still open. But I remember when the first case came in, the schools at the place where the case was identified were closed for, I don't know, a couple of days. But apart from that, the normal routine is going on. And yeah, if there's an impact, it's more like that mental impact of anxiety and all that stuff. But apart from that, I think people still keep doing their things they used to do.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
What I think is like people are avoiding a lot of like contact with people who just recently traveled, who you know about, like they came just, I don't know, from anywhere, not like specifically China, but anywhere. And everyone is always like, they shouldn't be allowed to come in or something like that. You know, I can understand it. You are panicked, but on the other hand, like they belong to this place and it's their home kind of a thing. So that's the only thing I think is here happening.
Yeah, thank you for bringing this up. Actually, I'd like to discuss with you on this topic. Like people are talking about this discrimination, racism, in some places towards the Chinese-looking or Asian-looking people. They don't care. Like if even you are born here, you're born in the States, but you look like Asian, you look like Chinese. I don't like you here. You are bringing the virus here. But sometimes, to some extent, it's understandable, right? Because people are just doing all this out of fear. It's hard to draw the line between racism and, fear. So I think what matters most here. So here's my point: is that we need to be eager for the credible sources, to have a bigger picture. Don't jump to the conclusions. We don't. You just don't judge people. Judge by their color or nationality. You should care. Like, have you been? You can ask. If you don't know, just ask. Right? If you don't know, you can go onto the WHO site to look at the symptoms people have. If you don't understand their culture, you can ask why they are wearing a mask, right? It just might be a cultural difference, not necessarily discrimination,
Yeah.
but it really make things quite difficult sometimes. People, because to some extent, this coronavirus bring the international community together because this is global joint efforts, led by WHO and different governments to put research efforts together to find, to do the genome sequencing for the virus, as well as developing the vaccine for the virus. So there's some collaboration, there's good positive side, but at the same time, you're also dividing people culturally because there's some hatred here and there. But it's really important for us to draw the line and say it out loud, speak up for what's right, speak up for the facts. I think it's a great lesson for the basically everybody to learn from.
Sure, definitely, you're 100% right. I agree with you. So I have a last question for you. So how far you think like Pakistan as a nation, the people, or like the hub, like the hub itself could like help you in or take any kind of measures to help or support you people up there in China.
Sorry, come again. You were saying like the mayor and what?
How can we as Pakistani people,
Yeah, yeah,
like the citizens of
yeah.
Pakistan, or the government, or like we like as a hub, we are having kind of a collaboration. So again, as we as a hub, for instance, how could we support you in this time of crisis?
I think first of all, like there's always something we can do within our individual capability, no matter it's big or small. There's always something we can do. The most basic one is like support. Speak out, like what I mentioned. Speak up to those discrimination. Speak up to the people around you who have misinformation, have rumors circling around them. That's one thing. And another thing, if you have that financial capability or other expertise on medical side, you can always provide your expertise one way or another to different the most needed places. So I guess thank you. The as a nation, Pakistan donated the all stock of masks in the first place to China. Back in January, and right now the Chinese government is repaying the debt to other countries who helped Wuhan earlier on. So like a government also right now is giving out masks, donate masks and other medical supply to countries like Japan, Pakistan, and Iran for their support earlier. So it's always goes both ways, and people can always help each other at the most needed time. And as individual, yeah, just take care of yourself, speak up to the discrimination, misinformation, and if you are able to, if like you are medical experts, you know, you can always educate people around you. Yeah, there's some basics I think everybody are able to do. Actually, we are along with Washington D.C. hub and Beijing hub and Washington D.C. hub. We are also trying to do some online initiative. Because right now people get panic at home, so we have this initiatives in planning, which is growth indoor, like like how we can develop as a person indoor when during the quarantine. So if you have a knowledge on different fields, you can always do this kind of online seminar or online session to help people get more aware of what's happening, what's going on. Yeah.
Nice. We could definitely talk about this. And is there anything else you would like to add or ask me?
Yeah. I also I want to touch upon before we go on the business implications. I'd like to teach you a Chinese character. I prepared this. I didn't tell you. So in Chinese, we have this word as 危机. It means crisis. So 危机 in Chinese crisis, it's made up of two characters. So first word 危, it means a time of danger, and 机 means a time of opportunity. So it's something rooted in Chinese culture. Like when we say a crisis, it's made up of danger and opportunity. Just like what happened 18 years ago. Yeah, 18 years ago for SARS outbreak, we saw the
Yeah.
boom of e-commerce. We saw the rise of Alibaba and other e-commerce giants. I think we're also observing some, opportunities in the aftermath of this outbreak. So I think that's something as young people like us, as global shapers, we can think of. What does this crisis mean for the world? What are the changes it can be done through this kind of crisis? Of course, it's a tragic, devastating event because many people died, and we deeply feel sorry about it. But after that, how we can improve? That's a question in front of us, right? So we see the opportunity in different industries. We see more people are educated to use online learning platforms to get different sources to use online teaching, and we see different technologies are being applied into this crisis management, like blockchain, like IoT, like the digital QR code about for your medical certificate and stuff. So those are the opportunity for the business, and as individual, we need to stay updated and see how we can play a part in this transformation or transition. Yeah, there's so many ways. Also for the government, I think it's a great time for the government to be more transparent, because there's so many things we could have done better. We could have faster, more agile response to the coronavirus. We can save lots of life, but it couldn't because of the organization, the big structure, because this reporting process, because of the hierarchy between the local government and the central government, and so on. You name it, right? But it's a great time for us to find out what are the loopholes in the system and how we can improve on those parts. So we're gonna see the improvements in the government information transparency. We're gonna see more application of the technologies. We're gonna see the boom of online education. So as individual, we need to think about how we can play a part, how we can contribute to this transition to the better. Yeah. Yeah. What about you?
Okay,
What about you
so
guys? Like, um, I know it's not the first time you guys are doing this kind of live streaming, right? So, like this coronavirus also paved the way for us to have this very live session with you while discussing the outbreak. I think it's the first time to many more later on. So I think we can also plan on
yeah,
more online sessions like this, because Global Shaper is a global network. We
sure,
can invite other people to join this call,
yeah.
right? Gonna be fun. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think it's definitely like we will keep stay in touch, and keep us updated. And I don't know, maybe like after like 2 or 3 months, we can again have a live session like this, and get aware of the situation at that particular point. So I think this is really important, especially for those people who just get the information through the social media. They scroll on the Instagram, and there are just like some random information, and they pick it up and like follow that information, which is completely not right. So before implementing any kind of information, I feel like you should really assure if this information is right and appropriate, and then move on with the information. So that's something I would really like to add to this conversation.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I had to educate my parents all the time. Don't buy those information you saw from any random source. It takes some time, but
Yeah,
I'm happy to see some positive changes, like especially in the people around us, right? And we can actually leverage social media, like the live streaming session we're using right now, both on Weibo and Facebook, to help people better understand what's happening, what's going on. Yeah, I think we always can find the opportunity in the danger, just like the Chinese characters Wei Ji. It's
so
really.
what was the word exactly? Can you repeat the word?
Oh, I can send to you later in your PM, but it's called Wei Ji. Wei as in danger,
That,
Ji as in opportunity. So the crisis for Chinese mindset is always, a blessing in disguise and vice versa. You always coexist. Let's put it that way. Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, I think it's a Chinese
Yeah,
philosophy
people have,
in a sense.
yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
yeah.
So I
So,
think we just came to an end of the conversation. So, yeah, anything else you would like to say from your side?
I'm just again very grateful for this opportunity to have this live
Yeah,
chat with you and the other audience, and I think it's a great start. Um, but just do stay tuned for more. Not only this live session, but also you guys can join us in Beijing for our other events. So just some additional information about what
right.
we do at the Global Shapers. How about that? Sounds great. Yeah, so at the
Yeah.
Beijing hub, like besides, so we all like young aspiring leaders. So what do we do? Exactly. So we have different tracks aligned with World Economic Forum initiatives. Like we have the Bear
Mhm.
Project, where people gather and talk about mental wellness, in Beijing and beyond.
Yeah.
And we have humanity in tech, where we have experts from
Mhm.
tech industry to educate people to
Mhm.
do, technology with a good heart. How we can leverage technology for the better use, along with the industrial revolution, to educate the public, the masses, how those technology,
Mhm.
including IoT, blockchain, even quantum computing, online education, etc., how they can transform our daily life. So those kind of initiatives we are right now implementing in Beijing and beyond. And I'd appreciate people still can, you know, um, follow on what's happening with the Shapers community. Yeah. What about you? What's
Yeah,
happening
we
in
are
your
having
side?
actually. Yeah, we are having similar. We have that because it's digital era and everyone should be updated about how to use technology and how to make the best use of it actually. So we have a digital literacy project going on. It's actually coming to an end. And that was where we educated students free of cost, like how to freelance or how to use your phone for journalism. So, and we got a quite a good response because there were a lot of people who afterwards said that they are now independently earning their own money and are getting financially independent. So this is like a huge step because we want actually the youth, because it is all about the youth. It's the future is the youth currently, and I think we should really focus on them and provide them the opportunity. So we have this project. We have another project. It's a climate change project where we broadcast live messages on the radio and tell people how they can kind of contribute to the climate change, like making it a bit better by, for instance, not using plastic bags or something.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, we are having several projects going on right now. We are thinking of planting trees in huge
Nice.
amounts. So we are not only focusing on local but global issues.
Yeah, there's so much potential in this community. I'm so happy to see we have this kind of cross hub projects. So later on we can do more stuff together in different places. Fantastic. Yeah.
Okay. Great. Thank you so much for giving me the time. And I really hope we stay in touch. And we will definitely do have a live session again. I really hope so. Apart from coronavirus, maybe there can be any kind of collaboration. We will see definitely. So yeah, that's
Yeah,
it
it,
from
it
my
was
side.
it's very constructive and meaningful conversation with you, and thank you again for the opportunity and making this happen. And yeah, just
Sure.
one more reminder to all of us: stay positive, don't panic, right? To the people out there in China as well, uh, always stay positive and try to contribute, one way or another within our capability. Take this opportunity, take this down time to do personal developments, and we can survive and thrive from this outbreak for sure.
Definitely. Just keep yourself and your environment clean. And I think those are basic things actually we should be following. And just because of certain areas where this is not happening, I think like these are basic things, washing your hands or something like that. Just follow them. Just keep it normal.
Yeah, don't just wash your hand during the outbreak. You should do it all the time, every single day, maybe a couple of times a day.
Yeah,
Yeah, like this was
crazy. I
actually
mean, like
sometimes I find it
you
so
all the
a
eggs,
little bit
but it's
stupid
basic.
sometimes. It's so yeah, like what you said. It's truly very basic. Yeah, I think it's
Yeah.
the habits we should already have, and don't think too much. Don't try to be an expert. Let the professionals do their thing. You are no expert. You don't know what's happening. You don't understand. Just it's okay. Just take care of yourself. That's good enough. If you cannot contribute, take good care of yourself. Don't spread rumor. Don't spread virus whatsoever. Don't discriminate people. Take care of yourself, and yeah, it's gonna be fine. Like what happens? People, there's so many outbreaks, so many crises in the history, we can definitely survive this one. And again, like we can really, turn it into something a little bit more positive. Yeah.
Okay, great. So with this, I would like to end this live session.
Yeah. That's wonderful. So
Okay, sure.
thank you so much, Sahat.
It was a great talk.
Same
Yeah.
here.
Okay, see you.
Yeah, see you. Peace.
Okay, bye.
Bye bye.